Hey, podcast family! Are you interested in learning how to resolve conflicts by communicating more effectively with others? If so, my next guest is here to help. Her name is Tabitha Liburd. Tabitha is a conflict management strategist who holds a successful record of implementing strategic methods for resolving conflict. Her resolution tools have been vital in helping individuals build constructive relationships. Tabitha is an amazing woman with an extensive background in law. She's the CEO of Marshall Duke Consulting, and she's also a human resources manager at a company with offices in both Tennessee and Georgia. Tabitha will be here to answer all of your questions on Speaking of Love, the podcast, this Saturday, August 29th at 12 o'clock noon via Facebook Live. If you are overwhelmed by workplace conflict and looking to find solutions, Tabitha can show you how because her mission is to end conflict one relationship at a time. We hope to see you on Saturday. Get right into our interview with Miss Tabitha Liburd. Is that correct? Did I say that right?
Yes, it is Tabitha Liburd. Thank you.
Thank you, Tabitha. Tabitha is a conflict management strategist. She has a wide history of working with law, and she's going to talk to us today about her phenomenal career and all the wonderful things that she has going on in her life. So welcome, Tabitha. Welcome to Speaking of Love.
Thank you very much, Latoya. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be here. I just love the purpose behind your podcast. I love that it's dedicated to your father. He was speaking of sports and you were speaking of love, just this all-encompassing love for him.
Yes.
I'm just so proud of you for turning your pain into purpose and for making sure that his memory lives on in others in such a loving way. By hosting this podcast, you bring so much awareness to him and to causes that you believe in and to enduring love. And I'm just so proud of you and honoring the memory of your father, Herman.
Well, thank you so much, Tabitha. So let's talk a little bit about your career. How did you begin your career as a conflict management strategist, and describe the type of services that you provide to individuals?
Sure. So I started my career in law. I've been an attorney for about 23 years now. And so it all started when I was working in the Bahamas.
Okay.
I worked at the court in the Bahamas. I was the deputy registrar there, and we were trained in mediation to help parties in litigation come together and talk about their case and see if it was possible to resolve their case before they got to trial.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really excited that the mediation process allowed people who are already in conflict to be actively involved in resolving it instead of going to a judge for the judge to resolve it.
Okay.
And to make a decision. It gave the people who are actually affected by the conflict and involved in it, it gave them, it allowed them to play a part, gave them some ownership in the outcome.
Okay.
And so I continued in it, in mediation. I did trainings and I did certifications while still an attorney. And I looked for every opportunity that I could to be involved in mediation and in conflict resolution. And then in 2017, I moved directly from law into conflict management. I did a master's degree in conflict management, and now I help professional women of faith who are overwhelmed by workplace conflict lead thriving team with confidence.
Okay.
And I do that at my company, Marshall Duke Consulting, where we do coaching, consulting, and training.
Okay. Now, where do you live, Tabitha?
I live in Michigan.
Okay. I'm in Michigan too.
That's awesome. I am in the Metro Detroit area of Michigan.
Oh, wonderful.
That is awesome. We are very close. It sounds like we are going to meet for coffee and speak a little bit more.
Yes, I don't know, for some reason I didn't realize you were here in Detroit. I thought you were in Georgia, but from my understanding, you work for a company that
Yeah,
has an office in Georgia. Is that correct?
that is correct. I work at Juice Analytics as their human resources manager. And Juice Analytics is a software company, and they have offices in Nashville and in Atlanta.
Okay. Okay. And how long have you been with the corporation?
I've been there since November 2017, and I love it there. I love the people, I love the culture, and I just love working there. I work remotely.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So, Tabitha, talk to me about conflict resolution. I mean, I've worked a job and there's always been conflict with different people, and you have to work with your coworkers and your employees. I
Wow.
feel like we spend more time at work with our coworkers than we do at home with our families because of the high demand in our work jobs. So how do you solve conflicts? Can you describe an example of a conflict where you were able to effectuate a resolution between amongst two or three people?
hmm Um, there was a situation where I was involved with a group with competing interests. And I'll be very general because it involves people who are not, a party to our conversation,
Of
and
course.
I didn't seek their permission. But I was able to get them focused on why we were here and get us focused on the purpose and what we're doing. And there were competing interests, and there was a very strong disagreement among the group of people. But because everyone wanted the same result, we were able to find that we were able to agree on that everyone wanted the same result. And when that happened, I gave each person the opportunity to speak to the others and describe their own path to getting there. And then there was an agreement where each person would work separately on the project and work on their own pathway to success. And
Mhm.
then we would meet up again and evaluate where we are, and then pick the one that was most successful and go forward with that.
Okay. So, what do you love most about your profession, Tabitha? I mean, you're resolving conflicts, you're helping people get along, you're helping, in essence, helping the production flow of the job. So, what do you love most about your profession in this conflict resolution strategist?
What I love best is my role model. I have the best role model. And I am very, very excited that I am able to model my role model in my profession.
Yes.
I am a Christian, and it means everything to me to have Jesus Christ as my role model. And if you would allow me to just talk about that for a little bit, in 1 Timothy 2 and 5, it says, "For there is one God, and there is one mediator between God and men, the man Jesus Christ." And in Hebrews 9 and 15, it says, "Therefore, he, Jesus, is the mediator of a new covenant." That's a new covenant that we Christians live in and enjoy. And it says, "Therefore, he is the mediator of a new covenant, so that those who are called may receive the promised eternal inheritance." And so, what I love most about my profession is that I get to walk in his footsteps, and I get to do with people what Jesus the Christ does for me and
Amen.
for those of us who believe in him. And I find purpose in that.
Wow, that's absolutely beautiful. And I like the way you brought scripture into it as well. It's backed by the word of God. That is
Yeah.
wonderful. Wonderful. You are definitely walking in your purpose and walking in your gift.
Thank you. I That is what I want to do. We've passed this way but once, and I really think that God has created each of us with a purpose.
Yes.
And I truly believe that I've found mine. I know what it is. It took me a while to get here, but I've been talking to God, and He's confirmed in so many ways that this is the purpose that He has for me. And so I just get to walk it out in humility.
Wow, that's beautiful. Tabitha, you are a very successful woman. How do you describe success? What's your definition of success?
For me, walking in the purpose that I am, success for me is when someone that I have coached or helped or trained is able to feel confident in conflict regardless of the outcome.
Mm, I like that. I like that.
Yes, regardless of whether they're able to resolve it or not, the space that they inhabit with whatever is swirling around them, I am able to coach them to confidence so that every step of the way,
Mm-hmm.
they're confident that they're doing the right thing at the right time in the right way. For me, that is so special, and that is where I feel that I have achieved success. I'm able to pass it on, and someone else is able to be blessed by the work that I do.
Wonderful. So I'm sure you've encountered a lot of people and learned a lot of lessons in your profession. What is the greatest lesson that you have learned as a conflict management strategist?
The greatest lesson that I've learned is that success is not tied to resolution, or success is not tied to resolution.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time, because conflict is so icky, we want to get it resolved, we want to get it closed out, we want to get it, resolved and completed. And if conflict is not resolved, we could feel as though we failed
Okay.
because we don't see a result in resolution. But success is not tied to resolution. There is a range of emotions that we feel when conflict is not resolved, but we want to always know that conflict resolution is a mutual process.
Yes.
It is, Latoya. If I am in conflict with someone else, and that person does not want to resolve the conflict, I can invite them to talk. I can invite them to brainstorm. If they avoid me, or they move away, or they don't engage with me, it's hardly likely that that conflict would be resolved by me and that person.
Mm-hmm.
There is a chance that God will step in and resolve it, but
Mm-hmm.
between the two people, me and the other person, it's a mutual process. But what I have learned is that conflict that can't be resolved can be managed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why my career is focused on conflict management. Resolution is the first goal that we try to get to. Working with clients, resolution is the first goal that we try to get to.
Okay.
But if that becomes a hurdle, then I am able to help clients to step over that hurdle and work towards managing conflict.
Okay. Wow. So what's your professional motto? Do you have a motto that you live by professionally?
Yes, my professional motto is that relationships matter.
Okay.
Relationships matter.
And what do you mean exactly by relationships matter?
Because, Latoya, I find that when we build relationships with others, we build bridges that we can cross towards the person, or that they can cross to us if ever that bridge is needed. The relationship is a bridge. It takes us on a journey somewhere. There are friendships and relationships that we've had for so much time. And I find that when we build strong and enduring relationships, it helps us to withstand conflict,
Mm-hmm.
because that relationship is so important, and there is so much trust in the room, and there is so much love in the room, that
Mm-hmm.
once we are able to build a relationship, we can stand on that relationship, and it helps us to deal with conflicts. It helps us to deal with anything else that might come our way. And so I've taken that on and I try to work with clients, and I always say relationships matter.
You know, and I like what you said, the relationship is a bridge. The relationship is a bridge. I love that. We have one of our viewers here, Ed Troxel, and he wrote relationships matter with your name and quotations and clapping his hands. So he likes that.
Yes,
Thank
I'm
you,
so glad
Ed.
that that resonates with Ed. I'm so glad it resonates with you. Ed is someone who also does this and lives this out in his profession. He
Mm,
really does. I've never met Ed personally, but Ed is someone who models creating relationships in a virtual space and being able to engage with people. And so he is certainly a wonderful example for us because he is a friend that I've never met. Ed is a friend I've never met, and I've
oh,
had to
he
work.
says he's so happy that he says that he's so happy to see this pop up in his news feed, and he had to pop in for a minute, and he just came in at just the right time. So thank you for viewing and watching, Ed. We really appreciate you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes, that was really nice. And you know, being in this global world that we live in, and a lot of us are working remotely, we have met so many people that we haven't had the chance to meet in person, but those individuals have become so important to us
Yes.
during this time. So we thank him for that. Now, Tabitha, I know that you are a praying woman. You believe in God. Is there something that you do every morning when you wake up to help get your day started on the right track?
Yes. The first thing I do when I get up in the morning is join a prayer call at 6:30 a.m. And it's a prayer call that a friend invited me to last year, October. And it has been such a blessing to me. I am able to center myself and start my day off with the right focus because I enter into that space with other believers and we seek God early in the morning before we do anything else.
Wow.
It's called the morning cup.
The morning cup, like
It's,
a cup of
it's a
coffee.
prayer call. Yes, she calls it Morning Cup, and that's how they refer to it with that hashtag. And I have been blessed by that prayer call. It's now, it moved from a prayer line to also Facebook Live, but I get it whichever way I can. And for me, that is the best way to start my day.
Oh, that's beautiful. You know, so many people, you hear them, I can't survive without my coffee. I have to have my coffee every morning. Oh, I'm just not myself without my coffee. But really, they need to refer to that prayer. They need to pray first before
Yeah.
they drink that coffee.
Yes.
Because the coffee is not going to help you save your life. It's not going to give you the confidence and the love from God at all. It's just going to give you that caffeine burst, but it's not going to really put you through the gates of heaven. So I like the name of that.
Yes. Thank you. I'm so glad you do.
So you know, Tabitha, I'm really enjoying our conversations right now. We have the energy between us is very good, and this show is all about love. I dedicated this show to the memory of my father. He was involved in a murder suicide back in March. He killed his wife and then he killed himself, and I feel that this happened to my dad because somewhere in his life, he didn't feel worthy of love. There was a lot of love around him, but for whatever reason, there was something blocking him from being open to receiving that love. And so, being on my show here today, I want to know from you, Tabitha, the conflict strategist, how do you define love?
Agape.
Mhm. Mhm. I like that.
I define love as agape love, the all encompassing love that God has for us,
Mhm.
the love that never gives up on us.
Mhm.
And for me, love is agape love. It's loving in spite of, it's loving because of,
Mhm.
it's loving through, it's loving over and above, It's sometimes going to the low places if you need to
Mhm.
bring someone out of that low place.
Mhm.
And it's surrounding people with love and surrounding ourselves with the love of God. And the only thing I can think about when I think of love is agape, because that's the model that I want to adopt. And that's the model that I want to live, agape love.
Yes, and I can feel that love, just your energy just exudes nothing but love. And
Thank
just
you.
because of the fact that you have dedicated your life professionally to helping people solve conflict, you're doing a public service. And to me, public service is an act of love. And that's so commendable, Tabitha. And I just admire everything that you have accomplished. So please keep up the good work.
Thank you. I will. I will. There are times that even this gets difficult, but I always remind myself who sent me. I always remind myself who sent me, and I know that God
Yes.
sent me to this.
Now, Tabitha, I just mentioned how I admire you and I admire your accomplishments. Is there a woman, past or present, that you admire?
Yes,
And
past
if so, can
and
you talk
present.
to us about her?
Absolutely, past and
I'm sorry.
present. Yes. You said past or present, and I'm thinking past and present. And I look for examples very close to home and in my life. And those examples are my grandmother and my mother. And those two ladies, my grandmother is past and my mother is present. And those two ladies are the Marshall and Duke in the Marshall Duke Consulting.
Oh, I love it. Can you describe the personality of both ladies?
Both very fiery, both very peppy, strong women. They both have the same stories of adversity that so many other women have.
Mm-hmm.
They're no different in any way from so many other strong, Black women who are raising families and working hard to support their children. My mother and my grandmother are the epitome of your everyday woman. Your
Mm-hmm.
everyday woman who's overcoming adversity with and by grace. And I had a front row seat to their lives as I was able to learn from them. I was able to learn what they're doing and just get so much wisdom from them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just carry them in my heart. And so, whenever I thought of conflict resolution, I thought about my grandmother, Latoya. I don't know if you are familiar with the Caribbean grandmother, but it might very well be the same in your culture. The Caribbean grandmother will manage conflict, and she'll do that by hand. If
Oh yes. We don't call it that, but we definitely have that in our culture as well. Oh my goodness. You know, my motto when it comes to children is punish but love.
Right.
Punish but love, because the world, when they go out into the world's not going to love them like we do as their parents, as their mom and grandmother. So we have to raise them. I had one of my best friends, she was 54 years older than me. So she was really old enough to be my grandmother, but she and I were really good friends, and she's now passed away. But I remember when I was pregnant with my daughter, she told me, she said, "Latoya, you're having a baby. You're excited about having this baby." She said, "But I want you to raise this baby. You're going to love her, but I want you to raise her so that other people will love her too." And I never forgot those words. So that goes back to what you were just talking about, that
Right.
fiery, "Hey, I'm going to put you in check if you don't stop it."
Yes.
Where's my belt?
Yes. And I love that advice. Raise a child that other people can love too.
Mhm.
No, I love that. I love that advice. And yes, sometimes with her, with my grandmother and my mother, there definitely was the promise that they would take care of business if you didn't take care of business. And many times it was more than a promise. It actually happened. They
Yeah.
took care of business
Yes, yes. So,
Yeah.
Tabitha, what's next for you? Are you working on any major projects for the future, or what can we expect from you next?
Well, in August, on the 7th of August, I launched, which was on my mother's birthday, I launched a resolution roadmap in the beta form.
Okay.
And that's an 8-week group coaching program. So I launched that, and we just had our first masterclass this week. Next, I'm working on a conflict management workbook because I have a free ebook. And then person started asking, well, hey, I'm reading these tips, but what do I do with them?
Right.
So I'm working on a workbook. So for each tip or strategy that I talk about, I tell you a little bit about how you can do that in your own space, in your own ecosystem.
Okay. Okay. Wow, that's wonderful. Tabitha, how do we get in contact with you? If we're looking to reach you, maybe you can help us with some conflict management strategies. What is your contact information so that our viewers can have it?
You can reach me easily. If you go to marshallduke.com, you will find all my contact information. You will find my social media handles. On Facebook, I am Marshall Duke Consulting. And on LinkedIn, I am Tabitha Liburd. You can reach out there to me, and I would be happy to talk with you more about managing conflict.
Thank you, Tabitha. So, Tabitha, I have a question for you. When the pages of your life have been reviewed, what do you want to be remembered for? What legacy are you leaving behind?
That's a wonderful question. I want that the people around me would say that they felt God's love through me.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
If they,
Mm-hmm.
if they can feel God's love through me, if there's something that I said or I did that helped them over a hurdle, that helped them overcome something,
Mm-hmm.
then I think that I have been successful. If they can say, I know she loved me,
Mm-hmm.
and she loved me regardless of what I did, what I said, what I was doing. And she loved me when things were good, and she loved me in bad times too, you know?
Wow, that's beautiful.
Thank you. That would be the legacy that I want to leave.
Now, Tabitha, where does this come from? You have such a beautiful spirit. Where did all of that come from? Were you just born that way, or did it happen overnight? Like, what happened to you in your life that made you realize that love, conflict resolution is the way to go?
Mhm. I have been through some rough spots myself.
Mm.
I've been through some rough spots myself. I've overcome adversity as a child when my parents were divorced, and there were issues there that at 16 years old I had to adjust to. And then I've overcome adversity as an adult through separation and divorce.
Mm.
And so I was able to look inwards and look upwards and find strength within and find strength from above.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I started working things out. And with the help of God, I started to see that there was a lot more than conflict and contention. And
Mm-hmm.
while it's always going to be a part of life. It's been a part of life forever. And conflict is not always bad. There is good conflict too. Conflict brings about, some good results too. Uh,
Sure, sure.
Through conflict, we get social change. Through conflict, we are able to clear the air and sometimes bring up issues that were not able to be discussed before.
Yeah.
Through conflict, we are able to build collaboration in teams and help
Mm-hmm.
us to work together, collaboratively and better, and to do better work together. And I was able to look at all of this, and I was able to figure out, there's a purpose in life, and the purpose surrounds love and God's love. And there's a way that I can help people with law as a background and with conflict management. There's a way that I can help people to sort things out and just, to do life better And I guess it helped that my mom named me Tabitha because Tabitha in the Bible is Dorcas. And
Mhm.
she was someone who helped her friends and helped people and gave. And so I guess I have that too as a part of my legacy.
Wow. So your life experiences have led you to where you are today. And, I talk about that all the time. I used to work in a school with hundreds of children. We had about 600 students at the school, and I was known as the mother of the school because of my loving, nurturing, caring spirit. And the question has been posed to me so many times, where do you get this ability to love from? Why do you always show so much love? I believe that the only way to really know how to love is to know what it feels like not to be loved, to know what it feels like to be brokenhearted and to be rejected and to go through life experiences and have some pain put in your heart that's really hard to take away. That's how I learned how to love, because I don't want anyone to feel or experience the hurt, the pain, and the disappointments that I have felt in my life. So I think I love a little extra because I've been hurt a little bit extra.
Yeah. I get that from you. From the time I met you in the group, in the group that we're members, I felt you there and I thought, wow, she is a special lady. And then when I heard your story and I heard the purpose around your podcast, Latoya, so many people could have said, oh my, this is what my father did. I
Mhm.
understand that he was in a hard place. I love my father, but I'm not going to say anything because I don't want people to think about my father in a negative light. But
Yeah.
you have taken your father's story and turned it into a positive living legacy of love.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that because it is difficult. He didn't just commit suicide and take his own life. He killed his wife first. And she was a beautiful person and she loved my father. She did. And I don't know all of the things that were going on in the home or what have you. But what I do know is that my dad was surrounded around a lot of love. And I'm not here to make excuses for him. I am here to spread love because I believe that's what we all need a little bit more. And people need to understand that they're worthy of love. Somewhere in the background of my dad's life, maybe he didn't feel worthy of love. He had a very successful life in terms of his profession and his career, but behind closed doors, people can have it all in the public eye, but behind closed doors, there were definitely struggles. So I don't want people to think that I'm here for sympathy or I'm here to put my dad up like he was a jewel, but he was a wonderful person and he lived on this earth for 67 years. And in those 67 years, he made a lot of major contributions to our world. And for it all to end in just a devastating way, there's definitely a lack of love somewhere. So that's my purpose.
Yes,
So
yes.
thank you.
You're
So,
welcome.
Tabitha, I understand you have a major announcement that you have chosen, speaking of love, to talk about. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to go ahead and tell us that good news.
Thank you so much. I am really, really excited. This is the first time that I am making this announcement. And it is, I think, a God thing that the announcement is being made on Speaking of Love.
Aww.
And with the purpose that you have for your show. I have been doing conflict management and I launched my group program, Resolution Roadmap. And that's an 8-week group program that gives you a roadmap towards resolution. We have 4 master classes and 4 coaching pods where we alternate them week after week. And you bring whatever is facing you, and I will expose you to the work. I will expose you to learning about conflict. And at the halfway stage, we actually do a conflict styles assessment that will help you to understand the conflict styles that you have when things are calm, and also the conflict style that you have when things are stormy. And then it will give you tips on how to use all five of the conflict styles instead of just using two, so that you are able to successfully deal with situations depending on what conflict style works best in that situation. And so I've developed a methodology called the Work Peace Blueprint. And that methodology will take the participants through clarity to confidence and then to solutions.
Oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. And so the announcement is actually that for each cohort of the resolution roadmap, there is going to be a scholarship offered. And that scholarship is the MEL or MEL scholarship. And it's in honor of my friend, Michael Lambert,
Mm-hmm.
who was a very dear friend of mine. We attended the same primary school and secondary school and university. So it's a lifelong friend. And Earl also was in a situation where he committed suicide. We don't know the reason.
Wow.
All we know is that Earl took his own life. And there's a group of us friends, and loved ones who really love him. And we are just, we were all so brokenhearted that the love that we had for him couldn't surmount whatever he was feeling. And so I wanted to do something to honor him and also to honor someone who is working out their issues, as difficult as it may be, who is working out their issues. Thank you, Karen. Karen Alexander is also a very good friend of myself and of Earl, so she understands.
Oh, thank you, Karen. Thank you for tuning in.
She understands the heart behind the scholarship and what we're doing.
That is so beautiful. Wow.
And so the recipient of the scholarship is someone who is already in psychotherapy. And to explain it a little bit, I looked at the website psychiatry.org, and they have said that psychotherapy or talk therapy is a way to help people with a broad variety of mental illnesses and emotional difficulties. So we don't get stuck on mental illness and feel that we are in psychotherapy because we are mentally ill. Psychotherapy helps us also through emotional difficulties. And this website says psychotherapy can help eliminate or control troubling symptoms so a person can function better and can increase well being and healing. And so the first step for the person receiving the scholarship is that they will be in psychotherapy and they'll be actually having therapy. The scholarship recipient will be having therapy for emotional difficulties
Mm-hmm.
and will also be then enrolled in the course, in the group program to
Wow.
help them resolve and manage conflict so that there are two aspects to strengthening that person. And the recipients will be anonymous. There will be no announcement about who received the scholarship. Donors can elect if they want to be anonymous or if they want to be named. The first scholarship was given by an anonymous donor and awarded to an anonymous recipient who is extremely grateful for that scholarship.
Wow.
And if anyone is interested in awarding a future scholarship, they can reach out to me at marshallduke.com or Marshall Duke Consulting on Facebook or Tabitha Liburd on LinkedIn. And I would be happy to award a scholarship to someone who's going through a little bit of a difficult time emotionally and
Wow.
who has conflict in their life and who wants to get that conflict resolved.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Tabitha. I don't want to cry because I've done that on a few of my podcasts before, and I don't want to cry, but that's so beautiful. Oh my God. I I
Thank
bow
you.
I bow to your excellence. I
Thank
commend
you.
you for that. That is so wonderful. That is truly an act of love.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Tabitha.
Thank you. Thank you. Earl really loved me, and I know it. And I
Oh,
felt loved, and I really loved him too.
oh my
He was
gosh.
a bona fide friend from childhood to adulthood. And if this is something in his legacy, I know
Wow.
Karen wrote earlier, Earl is grinning right now, and that's what he would be doing. He'd be laughing and smiling and cheering for the person who received his scholarship and who was able to work out their difficulties. He was a loving friend who always helped people work
Wow.
out their difficulties. He was always there to advise, always there to cheer you on, checking up on me to see if everything was okay, up to when I was in the Bahamas. And so it's an honor to be able to do this in his memory for someone. Yeah.
Wow, Tabitha, that's amazing. I think we lost your signal for a minute there, but that is so excellent. Such a beautiful, beautiful idea. And I commend you. I'm in awe of what you've done. And kudos to you for carrying on the legacy of a friend. It sounds like he was a wonderful person.
Yes, he was a wonderful person. Always very jovial, always very funny, always making us laugh, and we enjoyed some wonderful friendships in within our friend group. And there are a lot of very, very happy memories that we have of him.
Yes, yes. And that's all we have to live on are those wonderful, happy memories of those who are no longer with us. So
Yeah.
thank you for being here today, Tabitha. We have a few more comments. It looks like Carol James Boston. She says, I'm so happy that I was able to sign in to this podcast. I'm so proud of you, Tabitha. That is so wonderful.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. And, all glory goes to God for what He has done for me so that I can be able to do this for others.
Yes, and I think in everything that we've discussed today with the conflict resolution, the spreading of love and your legacy and your mother and your grandmother, talking about all of this today, I believe that it has inspired our viewers and our listeners to let people know that tomorrow you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And if you do something to end your life today, tomorrow you never know what could be around the corner. So
Yeah.
we have to stay awake for the rebirth because every day is a rebirth. When we wake up in the morning, it's the rebirth of a brand new day. So
Yes.
just hold on. I want everyone to know that you all matter. We love you. And if you ever need to talk, I'm available.
Yes.
There's a suicide awareness line. It's 1-800-273-TALK, 1-800-273-TALK. Because as you can see, suicide is not the answer. It just leaves the people here on earth who love you. It leaves us here in a lot of pain. But Tabitha, I love the way you have taken your pain and used it for a greater purpose in honor of Earl. And I'm so honored that you chose my platform to bring that information forward for the very first time. So I love you and I will always remember this day.
Thank you so much, Latoya. I love you. I am so glad we met, and I know that we are going to stay connected and meet in person. Thank you for having this platform. It is because you have this platform that I am able to make this announcement and to do this for someone in honor of Earl, and just to keep love alive.
Yes, definitely.
Keep love alive.
Well, Tabitha, is there anything else you'd like to tell our viewers or our listeners? Is there anything you'd like to bring forth that we haven't discussed yet?
I think I just wanted to say a little bit again of what you said. Just wait for the rebirth. There's always another day. We've been through so much with coronavirus. We've been through much with systemic racism. There's a lot of grieving. There's a lot of death. There's a lot of change. But I just want you to remember that there's always hope, And for those of my friends and Latoya's friends listening who are believers in God, remember that there is hope in God. And remember that there's always another day. The sun will always rise tomorrow. So just hang in there and stay awake and stay alive for tomorrow, because there's always tomorrow. And love lives in tomorrow. You're going to find it there once you wake up. It's going to meet you there.
Beautiful. You're beautiful. Thank you so much, Tabitha.
Thank you. Thank you.
I bow to your excellence. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on and accepting my invitation to be on my platform. And we're going to conclude today's episode. This is my 18th episode.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Congratulations. This is a wonderful podcast. I really love it, and I'm going to be tuning in. I listened last week. It was wonderful, and it's at a great time too. Saturday, just around lunchtime, where you can just you can pick it up, listen to it, and then do other stuff for the rest of the day.
Yes, yes. I chose this time because I do work a 9 to 5 job, and then I do have my other things that I'm involved in. So Saturday is like the best day for me to do this. But for those of you who are watching or you want to watch and you can't come back later, I always upload the episode to YouTube. So you can go to my YouTube channel, Speaking of Love, under Latoya Sanders, and all of my podcast episodes are on YouTube. But in addition to YouTube, of course, they're here on Facebook, but they're also on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. All of the podcast platforms is where you can listen to Speaking of Love. So thank you all so much for being here this Saturday. I will be back next Saturday with another amazing guest at 12 o'clock noon. So I hope that you all have a great week. I love you, and I'll see you all later. And thank you so much, Tabitha, for being here.
Thank you, Latoya. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.